Attention local government leaders, don't miss Fast Track 2025, Victoria's premier councillor leadership forum, happening Friday, May the 2nd. Join us for an intensive day focused on leading with integrity, featuring an exceptional lineup including Melbourne Lord Mayor Nick Rees, Victorian Ombudsman Marlo Barraguareth and ICAC CEO Alison Byrne. Gain valuable insights on conduct, fraud prevention and CEO management while networking with industry peers. Plus, enjoy a special keynote from comedian Anthony Lamo-Learman. Fast Track 2025, equipping you with the tools to serve your community better. Register now at the VLGA website. A controversial local law to be reviewed, rail announcements hailed by local councils, a councillor levels accusations at colleagues, Buloke's mayor confident a cancelled festival will return, a New South Wales councillor under renewed fire for ongoing behaviour, a call for an ICAC investigation into a councillor's new role, the resignation of a long-serving mayor, a WA council CEO appointment and another New Zealand council to leave the sector's peak body. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy and welcome to the Local Government News Roundup, our selection of news from and about councils across Australia and beyond, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. It's Friday the 21st of March 2025 and let's get to the Victorian news. Firstly, Casey Council has hit pause on its controversial local law, announcing a comprehensive review following community backlash, according to the Berwick Star News. At Tuesday's council meeting, Deputy Mayor Melinda Ambrose led a unanimous vote to suspend permit fees while the council examines the law's impact on residents. The review will compare Casey's regulations with other local governments and examine how to balance property owners' rights with community safety. The council will receive a detailed report next month outlining the review process. Moonee Valley Mayor Ava Adams has hailed the signing of a memorandum of understanding between Melbourne Airport and state and federal governments as a victory for local residents. The airport rail project, first announced in 2018, will include a new station at Keilor East, promising improved public transport access for the growing community. Mayor Adams credits years of persistent community advocacy for the breakthrough this week and is now calling for construction to commence without delay. Brimbank Mayor Tai Dang also enthusiastically welcomed the agreement between governments and Australia Pacific Airports as a significant milestone for improving transport options and economic growth in the region. Councillor Dang is hoping the agreement will help fast-track the Melbourne Airport Rail project before the opening of the third runway in 2031. Merribeck City and Mitchell Shire councils have welcomed an election pledge from the federal opposition to spend $2 million on scoping upgrades to the Upfield rail line. The report will look at duplication, electrification and extension of the line. The councils say the promise is a step in the right direction after continued advocacy by the Northern Councils Alliance for a better Upfield line service. At Greater Dandenong, Councillor Rhonda Garrad has accused her fellow councillors of shutting down debate on her motion for a second peace meeting with stakeholders about the Thomas Street precinct. The motion sought to remove the Afghan Bazaar name from council marketing materials until the issue is resolved. Earlier in the meeting, Councillor Philip Dan's motion calling for peace and acknowledging diverse community views received unanimous support from the council. You can read more on what occurred at the meeting in the Dandenong Star Journal. The Mayor of Buloke Shire Council is confident that the Esoteric Festival will return to the Shire in future, despite its recent last-minute cancellation. Councillor Alan Getley told me this week that discussions are underway about what occurred, including what he describes as unfounded media coverage.
Currently, we are just working through the wash-up of that festival. There's a lot of media, negative media towards Buloke and towards the councillors, which we believe is unfounded. Councillors work very hard to get a planning permit for the festival. We fully support the festival. There's obviously issues there that the promoter has to deal with his pope, but councillors are feeling a little bit thrown under the bus at the moment. So we are hopeful of very shortly having a round table with all members of the organising committee, VicPol, Ambulance Victoria, all council staff, and to have a round table and try and find a really good compromise to go forward.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you felt the media coverage was a bit on the sensational side and lacking in facts?
Yes, correct. The media was, as media do, they like to run a story, and we understand that. But certainly they were very, very one-sided. Our hands as councillors were tied a little bit because we had to vote on that, so we aren't allowed to speak while there's a vote happening. So we weren't able to comment back on some things that were blatantly untrue. Now, personally, I worked very hard in that last week. I contacted Minister Shing and try and help the festival to get that pope, but unfortunately weren't able to do that. We were a little hamstrung in that regard, but hopefully we can get some clear air soon and it can go forward, and hopefully the festival will continue.
I saw some figures that it was worth considerable in terms of economic impact, about 15 million. Were those figures right for Buloke?
No, that's the figure that the promoter's using, about $15.7 million. Certainly, there's 11,000 people come to Buloke in Donald, so that's a massive influx of people. So not only the ticket sales, the food sales, petrol, beverage sales, and it's so disappointing that we couldn't get it over the line to go ahead.
But you're confident that it will be back in the future?
I'm confident, yes. I believe that we all work together, get on the same page, and the promoter gets into there early, gets his stuff done. It can come back bigger and better because, as I said, we do fully support it.
That's Councillor Alan Getley, the Mayor of Buloke Shire Council, joining me. In other news this week, the former mayor and councillor at Maribyrnong, Sarah Carter, who died suddenly at age 45 last August, has been honoured at a council meeting where her family was presented with a memorial book. Various permanent tribute options are under consideration, according to the Star Weekly. They include potentially naming a building in her honour and establishing a gender equity category in the council's civic awards. And a community forum held by Greater Shepparton City Council has heard the Goulburn-Murray Valley region is facing a critical threat from Queensland fruit fly. Expert analysis predicts potential population increases of between 205 and 600% by 2026 without proper management programs. The forum highlighted the urgent need for continued Victorian government funding of $1 million annually to protect the region's $1.6 billion horticulture industry. More council news briefs. A person has been caught in the act dumping a burnt-out car in the city of Hume. The council says the offender will be hit with a fine of more than $9,500, stressing that illegal dumping isn't just an eyesore, it's also a crime. Council and industry representatives from across Gippsland have been in Melbourne this week for meetings with state ministers and MPs ahead of the next state budget. The One Gippsland group presented the detail of its funding priorities to the ministers for planning, skills, TAFE and water and local government, among others. Strathbogie Shire has launched Bin Right Strathbogie, a free app offering bin collection reminders, waste sorting guides and service updates. Mayor Claire Ewart-Kennedy said it's important for the upcoming purple-lidded glass recycling bin rollout in July. And the City of Ballarat is launching an 18-month trial program to combat increasing graffiti problems by providing free removal services and cleaning kits. The initiative aims to unite the community in maintaining the city's appearance, with support including additional cleaning resources, a new graffiti trailer, and the ability for third parties to enter into agreements with the city for vandalism cleanup. This is the Local Government News Roundup, brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, with its flagship Councillor Leadership Day coming up in May. Fast Track is on the 2nd of May, and registrations are now open on the VLGA website. Thanks also to Symphony 3 for their support for the podcast, providing simple, connected customer experiences. On to today's New South Wales report, and a Snowy Region councillor is under fire for continuing to breach a performance improvement order aimed at curbing his offensive behaviour. The Sydney Morning Herald reported that Andrew Thaler, who was elected to Snowy Monaro Regional Council last September, has accumulated 19 misconduct complaints in just 2 months. State MP Nicole Overall has called for urgent action in Parliament, describing Thaler's conduct as deliberate, calculated chaos. The councillor has reportedly continued to make offensive comments about colleagues on social media, despite signing an order prohibiting such behaviour. The Office of Local Government is now investigating the breaches, and Councillor Thaler has announced intentions to run for federal office. There's controversy brewing after former Local Government New South Wales President Daria Turley was appointed as a special advisor just months after being forced to resign from her presidential role. Councillor Turley's resignation came after her council, Broken Hill, withdrew its LG New South Wales membership last November. The Daily Telegraph reported that the appointment has drawn criticism from some local government figures, including Broken Hill Mayor Tom Kennedy, who's called for an ICAC investigation into the position which wasn't publicly advertised. Fairfield Mayor Frank Carbone has labelled it as jobs for mates and called for Councillor Turley to resign. LG New South Wales has defended the appointment, saying it followed proper procedures and noting Councillor Turley's democratic election to her previous role. Waverley Council in Sydney's eastern suburbs is threatening immediate action against share bike companies if they don't agree to new rules within a month. 9 News reported that the threat follows numerous complaints about bikes being carelessly discarded and ridden dangerously. The council is proposing a memorandum of understanding with bike share providers that would establish guidelines for bike numbers, parking locations and speed limits, while also implementing a 6-month parking trial from June. Share bike usage in Waverley has seen a dramatic 350% increase between 2021 and 2024. Newcastle Lord Mayor Ross Kerridge has incurred the wrath of his fellow councillors after calling for a state investigation into the finances of Newcastle Airport. His call follows revelations by the Newcastle Herald that the airport is planning job cuts to manage escalating debt. According to council sources, the airport had previously sought a potential $40 million bailout from ratepayer funds. In a dramatic council meeting, councillors from all political sides condemned the Lord Mayor's actions, particularly his decision to write to the New South Wales Office of Local Government without consulting them. Labor councillor Deanna Richardson noted that airport management projects a return to positive cash flow by 2027, and Local Government Minister Ron Honig has dismissed calls for an investigation, suggesting the Lord Mayor already has access to the relevant information. Ku-ring-gai Council has advanced 2 major housing initiatives, a transport-oriented development plan for precincts from Roseville to Gordon, which will be discussed at an upcoming extraordinary meeting, and the approval of a 1,015 square metre minimum lot size for dual occupancy developments in low-density residential zones. The council says its decisions reflect a commitment to increasing housing supply while maintaining consideration for community feedback and local characteristics. Waverley Council has voted to bring back a New Year's Eve music festival to Bondi Beach, which previously hosted the Sure Thing Festival until its cancellation in 2014. Rolling Stone Australia reported the council will now seek a suitable partner to run the event and secure support from the state government and Destination New South Wales. And one of regional New South Wales' biggest multicultural events is set to expand, with Coffs Harbour's All One Under the Sun festival extending to 2 days this October. The festival has evolved from Harmony Day celebrations and will transform the newly refurbished Brailsford Park in Coffs Harbour's CBD into a vibrant celebration of culture on October the 24th and 25th. Here are some more New South Wales briefs. The Minister for Planning and Public Spaces, Paul Scully, has declared 15 new housing proposals as state significant developments, which could potentially deliver over 7,000 new homes following recommendations from the Housing Delivery Authority. Penrith Council's annual e-waste drop-off day recently collected over 20 tonnes of electronic waste from 800 vehicles, with 40% being first-time participants despite wet weather conditions. Griffith Councillor Shari Bloomer has been elected as National President of the Murray-Darling Association, a local government organisation advocating for effective management of Murray-Darling Basin resources. The Scone CBD Revitalisation Project, a $24.7 million investment, including significant significant government funding, has been officially opened in Upper Huntershire. And there'll be a community rally in Albury this weekend in support of a fully funded new single-site hospital for the region. Albury Mayor Kevin Mack and Deputy Mayor Jessica Kellahan will join representatives of 12 other regional councils at the event Saturday morning in Albury's QE2 Square. Keeping you up to date on what's happening across the local government sector, this is the Local Government News Roundup. Let's head to Queensland, where Townsville City Council has unanimously rejected a petition with over 200 signatures that called for the removal of fluoride from the city's water supply. Councillors cited scientific evidence and established health guidelines supporting fluoridation as the reason for rejecting the call. The petition claimed fluoride lowered children's IQ, but councillors referenced a 2024 Queensland University study that refuted those claims. And the Townsville Bulletin reported that suspended Mayor Troy Thompson has criticised the council's handling of the petition via Facebook, revealing his connections to the My Place organisation, which holds anti-fluoride views. A comprehensive external review of operations has been given the green light by Redland City Council. Despite opposition from several councillors, the Courier Mail reported that Mayor Joss Mitchell secured majority support for the initiative, which aims to assess council efficiency and identify areas for improvement. 5 councillors expressed concerns over the review's scope and costs, with Deputy Mayor Julie Tolte questioning the need for external consultants. However, Mayor Mitchell maintains the review is necessary, noting it would be the first comprehensive external assessment of council operations in recent history. Next step will be the establishment of an advisory group led by Mayor Mitchell and new CEO Louise Roussan. Redland is the latest council to put its operations under scrutiny, following similar moves at other councils, including Sunshine Coast and Albury. The Queensland Government is intervening to support Woorabinda Aboriginal Shire Council by appointing a financial controller and governance advisor to assist with financial bookkeeping and allowing councillors to focus more on community outcomes. The Morning Bulletin reported on the planned intervention, which will allow the council to continue normal operations with its mayor, councillors and interim CEO, while receiving the additional support to get their financial statements up to date. From far north Queensland comes news that the Northern Peninsula Area Regional Council is seeking a new Chief Executive Officer following the termination of Kate Galloway's employment. The decision was made by council vote earlier this month, passed by a narrow margin of 3 votes to 2, according to the Cape York Weekly. The Mayor, Robert Poipoi, stood aside from the vote due to a declared conflict of interest. The change in leadership follows community concerns about transparency and operational management, which led to state government intervention last year. Lou Rojan has been appointed as interim CEO while the council conducts its search for a permanent replacement. And industrial action by Noosa Council workers looks set to continue after a rally of around 150 workers outside the council chambers this week. Radio Zinc 96 reported that the workers are demanding wages to match neighbouring councils. The council has offered a 13.5% increase over 3 years, which CEO Larry Sengstock said is a fair and reasonable offer and one that is financially responsible. Lots of news to share with you in this edition. Let's head down to Tasmania. Clarence City Council is working on a plan to replace access stairs at Roaches Beach, Lauderdale, which were destroyed this week when thieves took a large roller for a run to the beach. Tasmanian police are investigating the incident, which the owner of the roller told Pulse Tasmania is a frustrating inconvenience to her business. The council said access to the beach via the stairs is closed, with updates on repairs to follow soon. Meander Valley Council has confirmed the closure of the Westbury Waste Depot from June 29 as part of a transition to a more cost-effective regional waste management model. Mayor Wayne Johnson told residents that building a new landfill would cost ratepayers over $475 million, making it financially unfeasible. The Deloraine Waste Facility will be upgraded to a modern transfer station and increase its operating hours to 7 days per week. To South Australia, long-serving Light Regional Council Mayor Bill O'Brien has announced his resignation after more than 14 years at the helm. Mayor O'Brien stood down this week, citing the need to focus on family, health and personal life balance. Deputy Mayor Michael Phillips-Ryder will assume mayoral responsibilities in the interim. The council's Chief Executive Officer Richard Dodson has praised Mayor O'Brien's leadership and his ability to unite communities and drive meaningful change in the region. And Georgia Warhurst has been declared provisionally elected to Mid-Murray Council in a supplementary election. The result of that election will be formally confirmed by the South Australian Electoral Commission on Monday. In Western Australia, the city of Perth is considering expanding 40 km/h speed zones to all local roads in the CBD to improve safety and create more pedestrian-friendly streets. Perth now reported that major roads like Riverside Drive and Plain Street may be excluded from the proposal. The initiative will undergo community consultation through the Engage Perth website before a final decision is made in June. The City of Canning in Perth has introduced a new policy offering homeowners $200 annually for each significant tree they register on their property. WA Today reported the city's aim is to protect and increase the city's declining tree canopy coverage from its current 9.9%. Similar schemes in other Perth councils have shown limited success despite offering up to $2,000 per property. The City of Bustleton's War Memorial Project has achieved recognition by winning 2 prestigious awards at the Institute of Public Works Engineering Australasia WA Excellence Awards. The project was honoured at a gala dinner in the categories of Best Public Works Project under $2 million regional and Excellence in Innovation regional. And the City of Stirling's $20 million redevelopment of Hammersley Public Golf Course has won multiple awards also, including the state's Best Local Government Engineering Project Award. The redeveloped facility reopened in December and attracted 132,000 visitors in the first 3 months of operation. And another round of council news briefs. The town of Cottesloe in WA has announced a change in leadership, with Mark Newman set to take the helm as Chief Executive Officer from late April. He's a former CEO of the City of Mandurah and will take over from Matthew Scott, who announced last year that he would not be seeking a contract extension after 5 years. The District Council of Loxton Waikerie in South Australia has secured $1.1 million in funding from the Australian Government to construct shared paths in Waikerie, Ramco and Loxton, connecting schools, childcare centres and key community areas. A Huntingdale resident has been fined $800 plus costs after being caught on CCTV illegally dumping household rubbish in Southern River. That's part of the City of Gosnell's crackdown on illegal dumping. And Huon Valley Council in Tasmania is taking decisive action to address increased vandalism in Cygnet through rapid repairs, enhanced security measures and collaboration with police. The council has encouraged community involvement by asking residents to report suspicious activities and stay vigilant while using public facilities. Okay, on the global front, some stories to tell you about before we wrap up this edition. I'm going to start in New Zealand today, where Western Bay of Plenty District Council has become the latest local body to quit the national advocacy organisation Local Government New Zealand. Radio New Zealand reported it was a split decision of 6 votes to 5, with councillors choosing to end their membership, citing concerns over what some called the organisation's far-left political stance. The move follows similar decisions by other major councils, including Christchurch and Auckland. The council's departure will take effect from March the 31st. The decision was opposed by the Mayor, who's concerned it will reduce the council's influence with central government. The council will also lose access to the Mayor's Task Force for Jobs program, with $180,000 in funding for youth employment initiatives. ACT Party leader David Seymour's criticism of local government has drawn a strong rebuke this week from Grey District Mayor Tanya Gibson. Mr Seymour says local government needs a clean-out and has called on like-minded people to come forward to stand for election to councils as ACT Party candidates. Mayor Gibson told Radio New Zealand that West Coast councils are struggling with limited resources rather than wasteful spending. She says council critics and potential candidates should better understand the challenges of local government, including budget constraints and increasing pressure on elected officials, before making sweeping criticisms. In the UK, reform of the council tax system has been ruled out by Local Government Minister Jim McMahon this week. The Local Government Chronicle reported the minister made the comments at the launch of a report on fair funding for local government in Parliament. He said councils should have stability in light of other reforms to business rates, the audit system and funding formulas. The news will be a disappointment to those who have been calling for reform of the council tax system, which is based on property values last updated in 1991. 9 out of 10 local councils in England are set to implement the maximum allowable council tax increase this April, according to The Guardian, making the third consecutive year of steep rises for many households. The standard increase of 4.99% will affect the majority of residents, while 6 struggling councils have received special permission to raise rates by up to 10% in a bid to avoid bankruptcy. Redbridge councillor Sam Gould has resigned his position after pleading guilty to indecently exposing himself to a 13-year-old girl, according to a BBC News report. The charges led to his dismissal as a senior caseworker and suspension from the Labor Party, and the incident prompted calls for councils to be given more power to remove politicians who commit serious crimes. Let's go to the US. Kansas City Manager Brian Platt has been suspended with pay following a significant legal verdict against the city. The suspension comes after a jury ordered Kansas City to pay over $900,000 in a whistleblower lawsuit filed by a former communications director. Sources told the Beacon News that the City Council unanimously supported Mayor Quinton Lucas's decision to suspend Platt. In Palm Coast, Florida, Observer Local News reports the city's mayor is facing an ethics investigation following allegations he violated the city charter by attempting to fire key staff members behind closed doors. Acting City Manager Lauren Johnson confirmed to the City Council that Mayor Mike Norris directed her to fire both herself and the Chief of Staff. The City Charter explicitly prohibits council members from interfering with staff decisions, which fall under the City Manager's authority. And to Batavia, Illinois, where city officials are cracking down hard on illegal dumping. In a unanimous vote, the City Council has approved a dramatic increase in penalties for those caught dumping prohibited materials into the city's sewer system. Shore Local reported the move comes after a recent chemical dumping that caused $40,000 in damage to local wastewater treatment facilities. Under the new ordinance, fines have jumped from a maximum of $200 to as much as $20,000 per violation per day. And in Canada, Ottawa Mayor Mark Sutcliffe says a city service review working group has identified over $200 million in savings, equating to around $400 per household. And he's launching a new agile government working group to reduce bureaucracy at City Hall. The initiative aims to make city services more efficient and cost-effective while ensuring better value for taxpayers' money. We've reached the end of another edition of the Local Government News Roundup. This has been number 442, recorded on Friday the 21st of March 2025. Your comments, feedback and story tips are welcome at lgweeklynews@gmail.com, and you can find out more about this episode with all the story links and transcript at lgnewsroundup.com. The podcast is brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, with support from Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences. And thanks to those of you who help make the podcast possible by supporting us with a monthly subscription. They start at $3 per month, around $5 or less Australian, and you can cancel your subscription at any time. Details on the website or in your podcast player. The Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening, and bye for now. I'm thrilled to welcome Symphony 3 to the Local Government News Roundup family. If you're a local council, you know how challenging it can be to manage data across all your different systems. That's where Symphony 3 comes in. They've developed Smart Glue, a platform that integrates over 55 council systems, automating data flow without the need for manual work. It turns confusion into simplicity. With Smart Glue, councils save time, reduce errors and empower staff to focus on what really matters. Their clients see a real difference, up to 20% boost in productivity, with savings of over $30,000 per integration every year. Symphony 3 helps councils work smarter, faster and more efficiently, all while better supporting the communities they serve.